So we were actually snowboarding. It was a group of us. We were 4 of us. And we were going down Outback. And we cut through some trees. And I think I was going down, so my husband was in front. My girlfriend was behind him. And then there was myself and then another friend behind me. And we were kind of, just trailing along, staggered. And I went down and made a left-hand turn. And I think the back of my board just kind of hit a shrub, what seemed to be a shrub, a small tree out of the snow there. And I just toppled backwards. And
sounds scary.
it was, yeah, it was really scary, yeah.
So what happened? You went backwards and into a well, head first
into a well, head first, yeah. And so initially I panicked. I was moving around, and it only took a few seconds for me to realize that I was in a tree well, and so I stopped moving. And there was this battle between me wanting to freak out and me telling myself to calm down, internally. And so I took a deep breath, and the snow was light enough that I was able to move my left arm. So I was able to scoop the snow out of my mouth and make a little pocket of air. I didn't know how deep under I was at that time, so I had just hoped. I knew my friend Ben Smith, he's the one who pulled me out. He was behind me, and so I was just hoping that he had seen me fall in. And so I made that space. I tried moving a little more, and every time this side of my body, I couldn't. This arm was stuck out, and I could feel it moving around. There was freedom, and I tried kind of scooping away from my face, and I thought I was maybe this far under, maybe a few inches or something. And then I just started screaming help. And he said, after talking to him about it, he said he was sitting there. He thought he saw my board, and he thought oh, maybe she just fell, or because he had just kind of gone by me quickly. And then he just waited there and was like, all right, she's going to get up. And then he said he sat there for a little bit, and then he heard a really faint noise of me yelling. And then he said he realized something was wrong. So he got his skis off, and he said when he stepped in, he went down pretty low above his waist, and he yelled. He said, "Can you breathe?" And what I thought I heard was, "Can you hear me?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you." So he started unstrapping, my legs, and it made me kind of panic a little bit. I felt good that somebody was there. Someone was helping me. But then I think, I was like, why am I not going up? And it was. Like I said, after talking about it, he's like, I thought I asked you, we just couldn't hear between that much snow. And so, and then he undug my face. He's like, and pulled me out. He was, and it was interesting because before that, I had kind of trailed behind the pack, and he waited for me and let me pass, and then kind of followed to just kind of keep our crew together. And definitely lucky that he took the time to kind of stop and pay attention to where I was at.
Did you have a sense of how long you were down there?
Maybe had to have been I don't know. We don't think it was any longer than 5 minutes, because he had come behind me pretty quickly. And then my husband he was down a little ways. They had stopped once they noticed that we weren't coming, and he could see it. He said he saw kind of a poof, the trees that I had gone in, and he thought the same thing. I kind of just fell. And he said when he saw Ben messing with his skis to get him off, he came up, and I think it had to have happened. I want to say 5 minutes, but sometimes when I think about all the things that happened within that time, but I'm not quite sure. It couldn't have been too long. I was gasping for air by the time I came up. But
so did you realize what was happening as it happened?
As it happened, no. I was under once I realized it. It was the moving, when I was moving around, and I was like, oh, I don't have anything. I'm under right now. that's when I noticed what was happening.
And I bet you're feeling fairly fortunate that it worked out the way it worked out.
Yeah, I'm definitely feeling, really grateful that we took the time to be safe and stay in a pack and like watch each other. Grateful I had a friend who cared enough to, take his time and watch where I was. I had actually listened to an outside podcast where they were kind of talking, a guy had gotten buried under an avalanche, and he had said kind of those things about the slow movements and not freaking out, and how because the snow is so light and loose, it'll kind of keep settling the more you move. And so I immediately, that podcast went through my head, and it was like, clear space for your mouth, stop moving. And so grateful that kind of education's out there, people sharing their experiences. And so I kind of wanted to do the same, at least let people know to ride in packs. And I was reading some of the comments on the Mount Bachelor page, and another guy had said something like, if you have a helmet on, which I did, but I didn't know about this trick. He said you can just move your head and it'll make an air pocket if you just move it very slowly. And like initially my mouth was full of snow, and I was able to move my arm, and my initial like freak out, like one of my things was bringing my hand to my face to like dig the snow out. But he also said, you can let the snow melt in your mouth, and then you can give yourself a little bit of space to breathe.
So how are you sharing? I mean, you're talking to us, obviously, and we'll put this on the news, but how else are you sharing? I think you posted on Facebook.
Yeah, that's all. I posted on Facebook. Mm-hmm.
What did you say there? What were you hoping to get across? I
had seen a lot of posts about people falling in feet first. And, my husband said he fell in feet first not too long ago, too. I wanted people to know that falling in head first is still something that happens, and it's a lot scarier and a lot more serious then. And if someone doesn't see you, you're really vulnerable to death, Mm-hmm. And so I just wanted people to just be cautious, or just be considerate and of where they are, the small trees. It wasn't our best move. We went through a part of trees where it was a bunch of, because over by Outback, they've got them right now. There's just like a bunch of little trees, and there's not as much coverage, so they're just all kind of sticking out. And now thinking back, I wouldn't ride through that. We went up and rode today, and I get a little panic going through the trees. I won't go around the little small trees now, just being careful of those.